When you're a master communicator with yourself, you're the man who's level-headed, calm, and able to handle the pressure of that situation. When you feel depressed, and when you feel anxious, and when you feel stressed, the only person choosing those feelings is you. As a business owner, what's the language you tell yourself about you? No one has ever asked you this. There is a simple secret that 98% of men don't know about. This secret allows men to be wealthy, healthy, basically have it all, and allows men to improve the social contracts with the people they love, whether it's their wife or their children, their employees or their team, whether it's the people that are important to them. This is how you do it, and it comes down to this idea of self-talk. Self-talk is the language that goes through your head. It's the words, it's the beliefs, it's the stories that make up what goes on up here. And this language controls how you feel. It controls your actions you take or don't take, whether you win or lose in life. It all comes down to self-talk. And self-talk is the number one piece of the social contract you have with yourself as a modern day man. So in today's episode of the Empowered Man podcast, we're going to dive into what self-talk actually is, how you can influence it, and rewrite your perspective so you're in a place of power. Ultimately, how you can be the man for yourself and your loved ones. This is a very valuable episode, so strap on and take a bunch of notes, and I hope you get a lot of value. Today we're going to be talking about social contracts with yourself. It's the second part of the series on how to really rapidly improve your relationships and how to change the social contracts. Now, if you don't know what those are, go and watch the previous episode. I'll link that down below in the description. Or if you're watching on or listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, anywhere else, I'll link it in the description. Basically, the social contracts, to recap, are the unwritten rules and agreements that we have in every single relationship in our life. The way that our wife treats us or we treat our wife is an unwritten social contract, and it changes over time. And it's unsaid at the beginning. It changes to what it's like now. With employees or staff in our businesses, we have social contracts on how they can speak to us, how they can communicate with us, and with our children as well. Today is part 2 of the social contract series. And in part 2, we're going to be diving into how you can improve the social contract with yourself. Last week, we talked about what it actually means to have a social contract with yourself, self-sabotage, and the way you operate. Today, we go a little bit deeper. We go a lot deeper, actually. So when you think about it, the relationship you have with yourself dictates everything. I mean, in a business, for example, we coach a lot of business owners. If you don't have a great relationship with yourself, you'll typically procrastinate, you'll self-sabotage and sedate with social media, drugs, alcohol, porn, gambling, or maybe just work itself. If you have a terrible relationship with yourself, you're not going to be able to communicate effectively with people. You'll get more triggered and upset. We've all had that day. We've had a very stressful day at work. We come home, and because the house is a mess or the kids are climbing all over us, we just lose our shit. And we don't feel appreciated or welcomed or loved. We don't feel respected. That doesn't have to do with the people outside of you. It has to do with everything inside of you. So this is actually coaching that our clients have invested quite a lot of money for. I'm giving it to you guys for free, and I'm sure they might have some thoughts around that. I won't give you everything for free, but this is really powerful stuff that our clients, very successful men, have invested thousands for. So if we dive into this idea of self, it comes down to how you operate up here, right? It all comes down to how you operate out here. If you want to be a better leader and communicate better with your partner, your kids, your team, it starts with you. And there are 4 key problems that you get to address. Now, the first problem here is that you don't actually know how to communicate with yourself. You don't actually know how to communicate with yourself. So whenever one of our relationships is not going well, it means that we actually don't know how to communicate with ourselves. Every single action you take or thing you don't do, every single feeling in your body, joy, happiness, anger, frustration, it's linked to internal dialogue. It's linked to a story. So inside of your head, there is a story, and you can have thousands of stories about the same thing. You can come home, the house is a mess. The story is, my wife doesn't care. She's a bitch. This is bullshit. Or the story is, I can go help her with that no matter how stressful my day was. An employee leaves in your business. The story is, I can't find good staff, or the story is, great, I get to find more employees. It's all just stories, and the stories dictate how you act, how you operate, how you show up, how you communicate. So how you communicate with others is dictated by how you communicate with yourself. If you don't know how to communicate with yourself, then that means you don't know how to get the result you want. Let me explain what I mean. The second problem is you lack awareness around your disempowering language and beliefs. So when I say you don't know how to communicate with yourself, what I mean is that there are moments in your life where you lack awareness around the language in your head and the beliefs that take your power away. There is self-talk that happens. There is self-talk going on all the time. I'm not good enough. I'm the man. I can do this. I can't do this. We have a client right now. It's his second time working with Empowered Man, business owner, making good money, stressed, no time, relationships aren't that great. Pretty much the demographic of most men in this modern day society. And it's his second time on the program. He signed up 2 years ago, and now he's trying again to improve his marriage, find work-life balance, get respect around the household. He's 4 weeks into his second attempt, and we got a message from him today. I can't do this. I don't have enough time. It's too hard. Now he's projecting that towards us in our social contract. The social contract is, I'm quitting, right? But when you break it down, because he's lacking awareness of what's going on up here, it's all happening without thinking, and his language is negative. His beliefs are, I can't, I can't, I can't. So if you have any negative language in your life, I can't, this is too hard, I can't find good staff, no one understands, this is too difficult, then you get to bring awareness to that. If you lack awareness of what's going on up here, especially when things aren't going well in your life, that's when you don't communicate well with others. When you come home and yell at the kids, it's because you lack awareness of what you're thinking in the moment. That's why whenever we get grumpy or triggered or angry at someone, we feel guilty afterwards. Because in the moment, we're unaware. It's after the fact, right? So when you lack awareness of your self-talk, your disempowering language and beliefs, the third problem that comes up is you don't actually know how to reframe that language. So let's say you bring awareness to it. You're like, cool, fuck, like what's going on in my head? Okay, in my head, I'm being negative. I'm not being the best husband. I'm not being the best father. I'm not being the best man I can be. Well, when you bring awareness to it, it's like, cool, now how do I change that language? And in Empowered Man, we call that a reframe. We've talked about it in previous podcasts. If you don't know how to reframe that language, aka shift the perspective, then what ends up happening is you actually hurt yourself and others. You end up hurting yourself and others. Have you ever had a downward spiral before? Like something bad happens in your life and it feels like things are just piling up on top of you and it all starts to happen at once. This has happened to me this week. I got threatened by a competitor. I got issues with our marketing. I got issues with our sales. I had a meeting with our team at Empowered Man, and I tried to deliver something to them that I thought would make their life better. My social contract was, I want to help you. And one of them got really upset and was like, fuck you, this is not good, right? I don't like the way you communicated. When you're not aware of the language and you're not aware of the stories and you're not aware of the beliefs, what ends up happening is you don't actually communicate well with others. So if you ever feel like you're delivering something to someone, like saying something to your wife, for example, and she goes, don't talk to me like that. And you say to yourself, I didn't say anything negative. Chances are you weren't aware of the communication. You weren't aware of the beliefs. You weren't aware of how you were showing up. And then you hurt yourself and others. And this is a massive problem for so many men. Now, this is how you turn it around. This is what's possible when you learn how to change your self-talk, your internal dialogue, and what goes on for you in your own mind. Possibility number one, you are a master communicator with the man in the mirror. This is who you get to become. You're a master communicator with the man in the mirror. You're able to communicate with yourself to get yourself in and out of states as quickly as possible and in and out of identities as quickly as possible. What I mean is this. If there's an emergency, right? There's a massive fucking emergency. Somebody collapses on the street or there's a big car accident. When you're a master communicator with yourself, you're the man who's level-headed, calm, and able to handle the pressure of that situation. Because what do most people do when there's an emergency or chaos? They freak the fuck out. When you're an empowered man, you're able to bring awareness to what's going on for you and communicate in your head and go, cool, what do I do here? You're able to see what's serving you, see what's not. An employee leaves, you're able to communicate yourself through that problem. Your wife is upset, you're able to communicate yourself through that problem. your children are acting up, you're able to communicate yourself through that problem. It's about being a master communicator with the man in the mirror. Now, if you want to be that guy, you've got to be hyper aware of your thoughts, stories, language, and beliefs. You've got to be hyper aware of your thoughts, stories, language, and beliefs. What do I mean here? Hyper aware means that you bring awareness to what you're thinking, how those thoughts form stories based in language. So it's an English language, that's what you're listening to me right now, and what that makes you believe. So you've got to bring awareness to, I'm thinking right now that I can't do this, or that I'm upset at my wife, or that my kids should be doing more, or my employees aren't pulling their weight. So you don't just think it without thinking, you make it hyper conscious. You bring awareness to it by going, cool, let's observe these thoughts. Let's observe what's going through my head. What's the self-talk? What's that voice in here telling me right now? And this is a crazy ass principle for most men to get. Because when you think about it, we think without thinking. We have over 80,000 thoughts a day. You bring awareness to the language, the stories, the thoughts in your own head, and that's when you're able to rapidly reframe into solutions that bring you power. You're able to rapidly reframe into solutions that bring you power. What this means is whenever there's a problem in your business, your relationships, your health, you don't know what to do, you can't find a solution, you can't break through, you now redirect those negative thoughts, and instead of focusing on what you don't want as a man, you focus on what you do want. You reframe the negativity into positivity. You move the problem towards a solution. Because when you do this, it's virtually impossible to have any time to focus on negativity or problems. Because you're so focused on the fucking solution by changing the language, changing the self-talk, that all you do is figure out the solution. My marriage is breaking down. My wife doesn't love me anymore. What we do is we focus on that. Instead, you go, cool, how can I be a better husband? Self-talk, language, stories, beliefs. What can I do to fix things? What are all the options? What haven't I tried? See how just by changing the language, you're now focused on the solution. And when you're focused on the solution, you can't be focused on the problem. If you're getting value from this content and you want to upgrade yourself, you want to fix your marriage or relationships, you want to find work-life balance, or you want to be successful and winning in life, then SMS the number on the screen right now saying upgrade. SMS upgrade to 0482 097 778. That's +61 482 097 778. SMS upgrade to +61 482 097 778. And what we'll do is we'll send you all of our best content on health, wealth, and relationships completely for free. So SMS the number on the screen right now to get on our list, and we'll send you all the stuff you need to win. We have a lot of men who have employees that quit and leave. I don't have enough staff. I can't find good staff. I can't trust anyone to run this business. I'm always in the weeds. Problems based on self-talk, internal dialogue, the social contract you have with yourself is that you focus on the problems. A lot of men do this. I did this for years. We go to the solution. We change the language. We reframe. Where can I find good stuff? Then the voice says, you can't. Fuck you. You take that voice outside, you shoot it in their head, you shove it in the fucking rubbish. Where can I find good stuff? What haven't I tried? What do other people do to find good? See how by changing the language, asking better questions, you change and reframe into solutions that bring you power. And that's when you become a powerful leader for yourself and others. Because ultimately, a social contract between you and your wife, a social contract between you and your children or your employees or staff or friends and family, you want to be the most valuable man on the planet for these people. You want to be the most valuable man you can be for the people around you. So there are 5 principles, I think I wrote 5, maybe 6 here, that I want you to write down and remember because they'll fucking change your life. The first one is this: a man who knows himself grows himself. A man who knows himself grows himself. What does this mean? When you know yourself better than anyone else, you grow fucking rapidly. When you know the shit that's making your life better, the shit that's making your life worse, when you know what is working, what's not working, when you know the thoughts that don't serve you and the ones that do, when you know the thoughts that cause arguments and the ones that resolve arguments, When you know the thoughts that cause procrastination and the thoughts and self-talk that cause you to take action, when you know these things, you're hyper aware of them, you grow rapidly. And if you think about it, the role of a man is expansion. This is why wars happened. This is why everything has been built. Women are amazing, but men built it all. You might argue that was because of civilization and laws and rules, and I agree with you, it wasn't fair, but men are designed to expand and grow, and you got to know yourself if you want to grow. Now, to know yourself, you got to remember that awareness is the first step to change. Awareness is the first step to change. So if I'm driving on the motorway and I don't check my blind spot, and God forbid my wife and daughter are in the car and a truck hits us from behind, there's a possibility we could die. Now that's a horrible thought. When you think about it, that's a blind spot. We have blind spots. If there's any area of our life that could be better, it's either that we're not trying to fix it or we don't know what to do to fix it. Maybe we do know what to do to fix it, but we also don't know how to get around the bullshit that's holding us back. So to change anything, you've got to know the blind spots. You've got to bring awareness to the things that are holding you back. And that's how you create lasting change. If you want to improve your relationships, your business, your health, your happiness, you got to have awareness on what's working and what's not working. That's the first step to change. So something to remind yourself of, excuse me, I think I just burped. Something to remind yourself of whenever you have negative thoughts or you're not having a good relationship with yourself and therefore others, is I am in complete control of my thoughts. I am in complete control of my thoughts. I suffered from severe anxiety and depression from the age probably 17 to like 28. So what's that? 11 years. I tried psychologists, I tried therapy, I tried alcohol, I tried drugs, I tried it all. The only way I actually got through it was by doing a magic mushroom trip, which was an amazing experience. We won't get into that. Now, one thing I realized was that when you feel depressed and when you feel anxious and when you feel stressed, the only person choosing those feelings is you. Now, this takes a lot of fucking courage to admit, because if by definition, when you're not okay, it's your responsibility, that's a heavy burden. This is why so many men blame people outside of them for why they don't have the life they want or why their relationships suck. But if you remind yourself, I am in complete control of my thoughts. No one else is in control of what my self-talk is. If you tell yourself a story, I can't do it, you're choosing that. You might not be choosing it consciously. It might be happening without thinking, but when you make it hyper aware, you're like, oh shit, I'm choosing that thought again. I'm choosing that negative thought. Principle number 4, leadership comes from perspective. So if we look at these principles, principle 1, a man who knows himself grows himself. You know yourself better than anyone else. How? By bringing awareness to the self-talk and negative bullshit in your head. Then you remind yourself, I'm in complete control of my thoughts. And that perspective allows you to become a leader. Leadership comes from perspective. Just like I talked about with the emergency, if you focus, your perspective is on the things that give you power, then you give that to others. You ship that leadership, you ship that information to others. When your wife is upset or angry, a leader can look at things from her perspective, can get out of his own head and his own body and go, how can I look at this differently? When a team member is unwell or unhappy with our business and not performing, instead of judging them and taking that perspective, we can look at it from another angle and go, how can I support this person? Leadership comes from perspective. And when you think about it, your perspective is power. Like what you focus on is what you get. Your perspective is power, meaning where your focus goes, your energy flows. We've all either been the man or seen the man in our life who just focuses on the negatives. Your perspective is power. What you focus on is what you get. If you focus on solutions, becoming better, listening to podcasts like this, taking action, investing in yourself, if your perspective is on the things that give you power, then you win at the game of life. And this is where we teach something at Empowered Man called Rapid Reframe Reps, RRR. What you want to get really fucking good at is rapid reframe reps, and it's fucking hard. This week has been very challenging for me. Yesterday, I was sitting here and I was like, I don't know if I can do this, man. I got a business. I got 10 team members. One just quit. I've got bills to pay. I've got a family to support. I feel like I got the fucking weight of the world on my shoulders. Like, I'm sitting here in my office and I'm trying to cry, but I can't cry because I see the language, because I can't show weakness, even by myself. So I'm holding back these tears. I'm like, I don't know if I can fucking do this, man. So I sat there and I closed my eyes. I'm like, I've been feeling like this for 3 or 4 days now. This is definitely not rapid, but I get to practice a rep. Just like when I go to CrossFit or the gym and I lift a weight, I do a squat or I do a bicep curl, I get to do a rep to reframe what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling. And I'm like, you know what? I can fucking do this. I will do this. I've done it before. This is an opportunity for me to grow. And I start reframing. I start shifting from problem to solution because I'm in complete control of my thoughts. You're in complete control of your thoughts. And you're allowed to have negative thoughts, and you're allowed to argue with your wife, and you're allowed to be a shit boss or dad sometimes. But what you want to get really good at is shortening the feedback loop of shifting from the bullshit and the negativity and the things that hold you back into a place of power and purpose, to become a better leader, a better husband, a better father, a better business owner. And when you're not that guy, when you're not the best version of yourself, you want to get faster at pulling yourself back to baseline and then back to power. And that's called a reframe rep. You reframe from where you are to where you want to go. And the rapid part means you get better and better at doing it faster and faster. So there's some action steps that you can complete from this call that will help you a shitload. Step number 1, bring awareness to your beliefs about yourself. Now we have a document and a way of doing this for our clients, right? We have you just write it down, but basically, what is the self-talk about you? Like, if you really break it down, most men have never done this. As a business owner, what do you tell yourself about you? As a provider, what's the language you tell yourself about you? No one has ever asked you this. Like, what story do you tell yourself about you that you need to work hard? That if you don't, you're not good enough for your family? That if you're not working hard, you don't know what to do? That your purpose is your work? Like, what are the stories about you? For most men, they never ask this question. Like, what is the language? You got to bring awareness to the language. So get a pen and paper and write down, what are the stories? What is the language? What is the beliefs I subconsciously tell myself about myself? What are the stories I tell myself about the man in the mirror? So brain dump that. Step number 2, bring awareness to your beliefs around your family. Like, what is the language that you use about your children? What is the language you use about your wife or your partner? What is the language you use about the family in your life? Do you tell yourself a story that they don't care and this and that? Or do you say that you're grateful for them? What is the language? What is the self-talk? What are the stories, the social contract you've had with yourself? Bring awareness to your beliefs, the language about your family. And then if you run a business or you're in a career, most of our clients are business owners or career-driven men, bring awareness to your beliefs about your team. This is a massive one. This is a massive one. What are the beliefs around your team members? Do they work hard enough? Do you feel like they don't push their weight? Do you feel like they're not reliable? And again, we blame them instead of leading them and shifting our perspective. What are the beliefs? What's the language? You want to highlight the negative language about yourself and the positive. The negative language about your family and the positive, and the negative language about your team and the positive. And we want to bring all that negative to the positive. We want to shift the perspective because I am in complete control of my thoughts so that you can win. And then for the business owners, bring awareness to your beliefs about your business. I should be making more money. I should be further ahead. I should be making more of an impact. I need to work weekends. I'm too busy. I don't have enough time. It's all language. And if the unwritten agreement you have with yourself is to say shit like that, you're going to feel anxious, you're going to feel triggered, and you're going to feel stressed, and you're not going to be in a good place. And once you've got those lists, what's the beliefs, what's the language around yourself, your family, your team, and your business, all you got to do is reframe the self-talk. Reframe the self-talk, meaning take the negative and just tell yourself the opposite. I can't do this. I can do this. I need to work weekends. How can I take weekends off? I don't have enough time. I can create time. I'm in charge of my schedule. I'm a fucking business owner. No one runs this for me. I run this. It's hard to do this, but when you realize that you do this, you start to win at life. As a matter of fact, I'll just give you the questions. I don't have the download for you, but this is the questions you would ask yourself. So, what is the negative / disempowering self-talk about myself? And how can I reframe the self-talk about myself? What is the opposite of the story? What is the negative, disempowering self-talk about my family? How can I reframe the self-talk about my family? What is the opposite of the story? We do the same for team. What is the negative self-talk? How can I reframe it? What's the opposite? We do the same for our business. And then you write down your lesson and any actions you'll take. Now, if you do this exercise and you're not just one of the people that listens to a podcast and then goes, that was fucking cool, and then just goes on with your life, if you actually do this shit, you're going to bring a lot of awareness to what's working and what's not working in your life. The rapid reframe reps part comes from doing it in day-to-day life. Whenever you have a negative thought, negative belief, negative story, negative language about yourself, your family, your team, or your business, you want to get really fast at bringing awareness to it. Once you've got the awareness, you go, holy shit, there it is. There's that thought. In my current agreement with myself, in my current social contract, I've allowed that thought to exist. And then you reframe it into the opposite. It's literally that simple. I'm in control of my thoughts. I'm choosing not to believe this. I'm choosing to shift my perspective because my perspective is power. I'm choosing to think differently. I'm choosing to reframe this to this. I can't do this. I can. This is too hard. It's easy. I can't figure it out. I can't. I can't find good stuff. I will find good stuff. And you get faster and faster at shortening the feedback loop. And this is how you go from having problems that last a week, a month, to a day, and then 5 hours, and then 2, and then 1. And the benchmark is like 2 minutes. So something pisses you off, you have a negative fucking feeling or thought, you get triggered at someone, you reframe it within 2 minutes. And that's when you become unfuckwithable. This is so important. In next week's episode, we're going to talk about the relationships with your partner and other people. So how can you rewrite the contract you have with your loved ones? But you got to first bring awareness to you, what's going on for you. And that's how you become a better leader. So grab a pen and paper, write down what are the beliefs and stories, the self-talk around myself, the negative ones. How can I change that? What's the opposite? Do the exact same for your family, for your team and your business, and watch what happens. It'll take you like 10, 15 minutes and you'll bring so much clarity to what's working and what's not working in your life. Get it done. In next week's episode, we're going to be diving a little bit deeper. And if you got value from this, as per usual, give it a thumbs up. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on Spotify, whatever, give it some stars. I don't know what the fuck you do on Spotify. And I hope you got some value from this. This is really powerful stuff, and it's life-changing when you implement it. So that's pretty much it. Have an amazing day. We'll see you for the next episode of the Empowered Man podcast. If you're getting value from this content and you want to upgrade yourself, you want to fix your marriage or relationships, you want to find work-life balance, or you want to be successful and winning in life, then SMS the number on the screen right now saying upgrade. SMS upgrade to 0482 097 778. That's +61 482 097 778. SMS upgrade to +61 482 097 778. And what we'll do is we'll send you all of our best content on health, wealth, and relationships completely for free. So SMS the number on the screen right now to get on our list, and we'll send you all the stuff you need to win.